Hello, will.i.am. Thank you so much for joining me and the BYP network community at this year's leadership conference. You are our keynote speaker, so thank you so much for kicking off the conference and being the first session today. I don't believe there needs to be an introduction, really. The audience obviously knows who you are, but in context of this title and this session today, it is very much focused on tech and STEM and leadership. And the title is called Moving Beyond a Role Model, Becoming a Trailblazer. So even just before I go a bit into the description, just as a way for you to introduce yourself, tell the audience today what you are currently working on in the STEM kind of technology world.
Well, I work on a lot of different things when it comes to technology. My philanthropic work helps kids in this inner city that I come from in Boyle Heights, Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, to be exact. We get kids in and around science, technology, engineering, mathematics, specifically computer science and robotics. So I started 11 years ago with 65 kids, and we've grown that to about 1,400 kids at the early age of 9, building and competing with robots. And we've sent thousands of kids to college. We've sent kids to Brown and Dartmouth and Stanford, Georgetown, USC, UCLA. And so we're really proud of the work that we do there in the community. And the LAUSD has acknowledged the work that we do with robotics. And now we're serving about around 11,000 students in LA. So that's my philanthropic work. And it's core to the entrepreneurial stuff that I do, because kids that come from where we come from need to see people that come from where they come from in this field. So there's not a lot of, unfortunately, there's not a lot of CEOs that have started tech businesses. And that's very rare when you think of how gigantic the tech industry is. There's few of us, and it's awesome, but there needs to be more of us. And to do that, we need to lead by example. So I created a couple of skunkworks. Skunkworks are like these little teams that go out and solve problems. We created a mask last year, and now we're partnered with Honeywell in an amazing way, and creating tech-centered masks that have air circulation, noise cancellation, obviously, air filtration. So that product is doing really well in partnership with Honeywell. And then I have another team that I fund and founded, and we build communication tools, as well as another team that I have where we, build artificial intelligence, natural language, and in that field, So yeah, so that's the work that I do, and then I'm on TV
Of course.
and make music. But yeah,
doesn't sound like you're doing too much. It sounds interesting in the sense that I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience today will know you mainly for music, and will probably be quite surprised about the technology angle and the STEM angle. It'll be really good to understand, how did you go down that route of STEM and technology, and why are you so passionate about it?
Well, when you have success in music, companies call you to help sell their products. So Apple called us in 2003 to help them. Well, they didn't really need the help. So we benefited from this collaboration more, where they wanted to use one of our songs to help launch iPod and iTunes. So before iPod and iTunes was launched, we were the first commercial that they had. They used the Black Eyed Peas song. And from there, I was just really fascinated on what it took to make a product. And I told myself, if I ever had, some side cash, that I was going to try my hardest to make something. And I did that. I worked with BlackBerry for a while in 2006. I sat in the futurist department at Intel from 2011 to 2013. I worked at a 3D printing company as a advisor and sat on the board, and I helped launch Atom Bank in the UK, so I had a board seat there. But back in 2007, I gave Jimmy Iovine a crazy concept, and that was to make our own hardware. said, hey, Jimmy, let's make our own hardware and we sell our own products. And that turned into Beats. So I was the third silent partner, equity shareholder, found a part of Beats since the beginning.
Wow.
And then from there, I just realized just what you can do, what inner city folks can do, what we can build, how big we could grow stuff. And so Beats was the validation that we can create products. Right? We didn't go to Samsung, we didn't go to Panasonic, we didn't go to Sony. We built our own company. And a lot of times our community thinks like if we want to do something that we need the help of big companies to get on. That's false. You could create from scratch. Beats was from scratch. Yeah, we partnered with Monster, but they just made cords and cables. They didn't make hardware. They didn't make, consumer electronics from the traditional sense. They made the conduits, the wires, and stuff like that. So they learned from us, we learned from them, but we built something gigantic. And that's all I needed to set me on this course back in 2007.
So that is incredible, right? The fact that, like you said, you were working with these big corporations, or they wanted to kind of use you to promote their goods. And then you realize that actually I can build it myself, or we can build it. But there might be people watching today thinking, but you're will.i.am, you have some money or you have influence. Of course you can build it. And what advice would you give to those watching who, haven't got the resources or access to kind of get started and to dream big and to know that tech and STEM is for them?
Okay, so there's a lot of folks that are like, yeah, but you're like famous and you make music. That's a curse, because that means people in the industry that I want to be in doesn't take me serious because they just see me as a musician and entertainer. And folks that are starting from zero that have a big idea, you actually have it easier than folks that are famous, because you don't have this that cynicism, that the cynics and the skeptics and the critics that are like, I don't know if you actually have what it takes to be in this field. So a good idea is a good idea. Don't matter if you're rich, don't matter if you're poor, don't matter if you have, some type of popular culture, handle where people know who you are. A good idea is a good idea. And solving problems is solving there's so many problems that need to be solved. And you could solve them with technology. And coming up with an idea, whether it's software or hardware, our community needs to know that, yes, we're creative, but when we apply our creativity to solving problems, and the way to solve that problem is through the pathways through software or hardware, sky's not the limit, because the sky's the limit is limiting. Yeah, the universe is the limit, and that's always expanding.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
boom,
I mean, I completely agree. I'm always preaching that tech is the future. BYP Network started 5 years ago as an idea in, my bedroom. But it is a journey, right? And I think for those watching today is all about collaboration is key. It's all about leadership. It's all about taking that step to where you want to be and who you want to become. I guess, again, talking about technology, if they don't have those resources, why is networking important, or why is it important to kind of make sure they collaborate in order to get to the next level?
Okay, I'll answer that question from the lens of music. Now, unless you're a solo guitarist, even when you're a solo guitarist, when you have success, you need a guitar tech to help you with your craft. The whole premise of music is collaboration. There's no such thing as a solo successful anybody. And when it comes to solving problems, networking and collaboration is key, because you need different perspectives. You need different disciplines to help you expand what it is you thought you were doing. A different discipline comes in, a different viewpoint, and it expands it tenfold. And if you have a bunch of different disciplines, a cluster of like awesome brains solving one problem, You're talking about Apple. You talk about Amazon. You're talking about Google. You're talking about even a car has, a car is not just a car. A car has an entertainment dashboard. There's music in a car. Like a car brings about all different types of disciplines. You need audio engineers. You need electrical engineers. You need safety protocols. You need design, illustration. You need fabric. You need textile. A car needs so many different brains, expertise of perspective. The same with software. You need design, you need tech, you need psychology, how people are going to adopt the product and stay on the product. When they say sticky, when they say, oh, your product's not sticky enough, that means people aren't on it enough. That means you don't understand human behavior to keep them on it. You need software. You also need, usability and intuitive design. That's really understanding like the core of how your mind and how your mind is going to wrap itself around the product. So you need so many different disciplines just to do, bring an idea to life. Yeah. And networking and collaboration is everything. Being open-minded and attracting talent to help expand or help you complete the thought.
Yeah, and I kind of want to jump on that. So you said you're truly learning when you're collaborating. That's a quote you've said before. And just now you mentioned about being more open-minded. So can you share some personal tactics to create more collaborative and open mindsets, especially as we rebuild tech for us?
Okay, so if you're blessed to be around somebody that's extremely talented at any field to help solve the problem, you need to be open-minded to that person's talent. And then that person that's talented needs to be open-minded to folks that are not expertise in that field, because they're going to come with perspective that person can't see. So it needs, everyone that's working together needs to be open-minded to what everyone that you've brought together. If you value your team, you need to be open-minded to what their suggestions are. They may not be the best at the field that you're coming from, but that insight is probably what the product or the solution needs. And that takes open-minded, that takes humbling yourself. No matter how awesome you are, no matter how great you are, you need to have a humble, open-minded perspective, because that's just going to breed more openness, more transparency, more fluidness in the ping pong to solve the problem, right? Because if you come in from a stubborn, closed-minded perspective, that expert that you're blessed to be around is going to come from a stubborn perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And say, for example, everyone on the team are not the best. Maybe you're not, maybe everyone is like one out of 10, maybe everyone individually are batting at 6. But collectively, you're batting at 10. And you're a badass team. That's only going to happen when it's humble, open-mindedness, and everybody knowing what they don't know, so that each one of you can solve each other's gaps. Not everyone's going to be blessed to find like a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan or a Lewis Hamilton level type talent in technology. But collectively, you can be a fierce team.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, just again, on that collaboration is key. This is why the theme of the conference this year is all about collaboration. We've seen what's happened over the past year. You've learned so much in the Black Print, the ITV show that you did. And even I'm learning every day with the books that I'm reading. And I think for me, I just really want to understand again, in the theme of collaboration is key. What is your advice to kind of our Black listeners about starting to build the doors? And I get this specifically from the Black Print. You mentioned that we need to build doors, not just knock down the ones in front of us, specifically looking at tech and the future of the world. So Yeah, my question is, what's your advice to our Black listeners to start building those doors?
Audacity. Be audacious and fearless. Be spongeable. Go out there in the world and sponge up as much information as possible. And in order to do that, you have to attract. You have to have a welcoming vibration to information, so that people want to share it with you. And if experts don't share that with you, you have to be patient enough to go online and search for that information. And you have to be diligent to know the good information from the bad information. You have to just research. But at the core, audacity. You have to be audacious, right? There's nothing wrong with being having humble audacity. Arrogant audacity, nobody wants you in the room. And right now, our culture, there's a lot of folks that are successful, and with that success, because it took them a long time to become successful, they've adopted this arrogance. That arrogance is detrimental if you adopt that on the come up. You cannot have that in the field of solving problems. So humble audacity is an amazing combination. The humbleness is going to allow your vibration to receive information from folks that have it. That humbleness is going to allow you to be patient, to look for the information and have a strategic method to filter out the good from the bad, to apply it to you. But then that audacity is going to give you the perspective and the lens of, I'm gonna build this my damn self.
Yeah.
Because somebody's gonna look at you, be like, oh really? Oh, look at this. They're gonna have that criticism, that snarky good luck vibe, like good luck. And you have to have that thick skin to be like, and I will prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Why? Because my team that I've assembled, we're aligned on the audacious mission.
Yeah, but just to jump into that, so obviously, this session is all about becoming a trailblazer, and to do so, you have to be audacious. But something I tend to hear from the community a lot is about confidence, imposter syndrome, maybe getting negative feedback in the past, someone telling them they can't do something, or them not even seeing role models that have done it before them. Again, how would you kind of get someone to be audacious? We can say it, but what skills do they need to kind of build so that they can tackle this future that we speak about, and the fact that we need Black people in the future for us to win, essentially?
Okay, so our community, not just ours, but pop culture in general, we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to take an L. People are like, oh, failure. Like everything on social media is like fail, fail, fail. And all that does is force people to be afraid to take a chance and fail. To be audacious, you have to have a fuck it mentality. And that fuck it mentality is like, and if I fail, that's okay. Because I'm going to learn. That L is not lost. That L is learned. Fail, F does not equal L. F equals L not from a loss. F equals L from I learned. And the more you learn, the more that F does not mean fail. F means fly. Right? F means fearless. Right? So you need that's the start of audacity. That's the start of being audacious. Is that fuck it. Let's do it. Let's go.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And it's interesting, if we take it back again to technology and STEM, one thing we found is that, Black people tend to be consumers, right? We don't tend to be the ones kind of building, or there are Black people building, of course, but maybe there's not that much funding, or they don't get the same traction as others do. A good example could be Clubhouse, how that just blew up during, the pandemic. And so many people jumped on it, and it felt like Black people mainly were the ones that kind of pushed that forward. What's your view on why we must be part of building technology and building the future, so that we're, just for examples like that, and that we're not left behind?
That's a really awesome perspective. I smiled because I'm like, that is dead ass 1000% accurate. The world makes stuff, and then it seeks for our approval and adoption for it to expand. For some reason, like, we're the testing ground for a lot of the things that have become giant companies. And Beats was us, right? So Beats is an example of what Black culture, what we can do in a field that no one thought was possible for us to do. Like, how did we make headphones that competed with Sony's headphones, that competed with Panasonic, Bose, Sennheiser? That company has been around for hundreds of years. So it seems like 100 years. It's really not. But that once you realize that it hasn't been 100 years is when you should say, fuck it, let's go. Right? Because they're going to come to us anyways. Our community as a whole, no matter what side of the Atlantic we're on or what side of the equator we are on, for some reason, our adoption of stuff blows up. But why can't we adopt our own stuff? Why can't we support our own, problem solving? We don't have the ability to solve problems. We know what we want. We know what we want from the stuff that they throw at us. Right? So that means we have the ability to make what we want. Right? That means we have the ability to be able to see the problem and solve it in the form of a company, a product, and a company. We have everything it takes. It's just that no one told us. They just said we were the consumers. But our community don't even have the money to buy it. Like, it's crazy, right? Bugattis were not aimed at us. Because our community, where we come from, the majority of us can't afford a Bugatti. But it takes us celebrating it in our music to do something to Bugatti that makes it a brand. Right? Gazelles, the glasses from Germany, they were not made for us. But we adopted those in the 80s. Adidas, when they first started, Adidas was not like, yeah, we're gonna make these shoes for the hood. That's not what they were doing when they made those shoes in the 80s. We adopted them in blue, and now Kanye West has a great Adidas brand. My question is, did Kanye West need Adidas? Or did Adidas need Kanye? That's still up for debate. I would say Kanye don't need it. Kanye don't need Adidas.
Yeah, and just to jump in, let me quickly jump in there, because quite interestingly, I was watching that interview with Kanye and Sway the other day, but he mentions about scale, right? And when it comes to the Black community and businesses, we do tend to struggle on competing on scale. So what kind of ideas you have in terms of, technology adoption, scale, and just, if we're starting from ground up, I guess, how did you scale Beats? Might be a good way to answer that.
Yeah, so my answer is Beats. So one would say that that would have plagued us, that would have been our tripwire, that we weren't able to scale it. Demand is demand. Scale is that collaborative, attitude and adopting the true skill of collaboration to go out and find the factories that allow you to create lines to build to scale. To go out and get debt financing, if that's what you're going to do, or raise money so you can hire to scale. Go out and handle chipset procurement. So when you have the demand, you can build the product to scale. And that team, you have to have that team. The team is what scale is. So at the time, maybe Ye didn't have, at the time when he had that Sway interview, obviously he didn't have that bird eye view that he has now. But I think the future of Yeezy, maybe he's not his partnership with Adidas. And we need that. We need that. Because Kanye has something pretty powerful. And I salute what he was able to do.
Yeah.
And but when the world of technology, do you know just what happens when you solve a problem with software and some technical hardware solution? What that means? If our community was like taking swings at that field or throwing up shots, like just if you use basketball as a reference, the amount of shots taken versus the amount of shots made, you got to take shots. You can't assume that the less shots you take, you're going to you're still going to perform well. You have to take shots. You have to be fearless to take shots. You have to be fearless to throw punches.
Yeah.
If you're too worried about missing a shot that's going to keep you from throwing shots, then you ain't going to have no shots.
Yeah.
And right now we ain't taking shots in tech trying to solve problems.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I really hope everyone listening to this session just understands that the key takeaway right now is to be audacious, take shots, take failure. Failure is all part of it, because when you fail, you grow, you learn, it's fearlessness. So I'm just hearing so many great things. We've only got a few more minutes. There's something I wanted to say about one of the quotes you made. You said, the way our community sees technology, the more we can enrich our lives. So what did you mean by this when you're talking about the community?
So say that question again.
Sorry, let me say that again. So the way our community sees technology, the more we can enrich our lives. So that's a quote that you had said. So what did you mean by that quote, essentially?
Okay, so if I compare how we live right now, it's 2021, about to be November, and I would think of what 1991, about to be November, was like. In 1991, if I needed to get a car, I had to go and hitch a ride if I was in New York. And if I was in New York, being Black, a freaking attack won't stop for me. It's not stopping for me if I'm in New York. But technology, Uber, now I can get a car whenever I want to. So technology did what companies and governments and cities were not able to do. If I think about like what 1991 was like versus 2021, if I was hungry, I had to go to the store to go get me something to eat. Now I Postmates it or Uber Eats it or Deliveroo it. And even on the zip code or your city code that you live in, the things I ordered still show up. There's no prejudice like it was in 1991. So technology is like made the world a lot easier. But we're not training the data. We're not writing the algorithms. Like imagine if we are solving problems not only for our community, but other nationalities and communities use our solutions as well. Like that will change how we connect to the world. Part of the reason when you think of like, when I was thinking of like racism, and it's sad to me that, damn it, we still here? We still in this situation? There's still folks that have prejudice. Like, and as much as I want to be like, well, forget those folks. It's hard for me to ignore and forget it when I think about our kids and how they're being prepared for this technological tomorrow. The advancements of technology, we're not going to reap the benefits of that as far as the implementers and the designers. It's being designed right now, but we're not a part of that conversation yet in the way that we should and the way that we will be once we align on the importance of of the world that's being built now. And the more that we realize that we should be designers in this tomorrow, let's get our nieces and our nephews, our sons and our daughters equipped with these skill sets. So we're solving our problems ourselves. We're waiting around for people to solve our problems. We don't have to anymore.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And what's interesting is that, again, this conference is, this year is on collaboration is key, but it's part of a series called A Decade of Proactive Change. So this right here is all about how we can ensure that in 10 years time or 9 years time, since it started last year, that everything changes. And we're not talking about 2031, it's being the same as, 1991. So with that, and with everything that you learned from the Black Print and touring the UK, how do you feel like the BYP community, or those listening right now, we have Black members, Asian members, white members, we have allies, we have corporates, we have so many people that are engaged with the BYP network community. How can we all push the nation forward and make sure that it's inclusive and make sure that Black people are not left behind in technology or the future in general? It's a strong question.
Continue the momentum. Taking this moment that you've been able to create with the BYP, taking that moment and scaling it to where it's like true momentum. And you have a movement. There's a movement that is starting. And it's powerful what you've been able to do. And it's beautiful. And there's going to be other, young Black women that would have been inspired by you, and other movements and other movements would have been started. And it's going to take us all, but it starts with like how we encourage our nieces and our nephews. They're 9 right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they're 7. When they're 17, what are they about to step into? If you're 11 right now and you're 21 in 2030, what world are you contributing to? What perspective? And that's all starting how we encourage and inspire them now. And if we not all of us are going to solve problems, right? If you have 10 nephews and nieces in your family, hopefully one of them is a part of solving problems, is a part of the solving problems committee. Like maybe one of them is a little entertainer. Maybe one of them's a little, but we have to do our part as adults to build the future problem solvers, starting at home first. Or that's the way. That's when you have like an awesome 2031 and beyond.
Wow.
It's like when you see a 9-year-old right now, 11-year-old, how are you inspiring them? What are you encouraging them? Are you challenging them now? Do you have conversations with your little 10-year-old and say like, hey, what do you think about this problem? How would you solve it? And make them a part of the conversation now, and then equip them with the skill sets to where they don't depend on anybody. It yeah. Like if you were to go to Silicon Valley right now, and you go to the IT department at Facebook, and you see somebody that is a team leader, and you ask them where they're from, I guarantee you 7 out of the 10 people you're going to see is from Bangalore or some place in India. And you can ask them, what was the conditions of your community when you were growing up? And they're going to tell you, it was tough. India's tough. But every single tech company has an awesome talent from India. We should be inspired by India, Black folk. You talk about cross-disciplinary, different folks that are working with you. Black and Indian That's an amazing combination of companies to build. Where are you from? I'm from Ghana. And where's your CTO from? Oh, she's from India. That sounds like a pretty awesome mix. And where's your design, your UI UX designers from? Oh, they're from China. That sounds like a pretty freaking awesome mix. That's great. And these types of freaking like clusters of groups of folks coming from Black founders, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And we need that. We need that. If Facebook could do it, why can't we? If Google could do that, those clusters, why can't we? If Apple could do that type of cluster building, why can't we? At one point in time, people said, yeah, I want to do music. Oh, there's no way you could sell records like Michael Jackson. You can't sing like Michael. You can't dance like Michael. But damn, we came close. We sold almost 40 million albums. We sold out stadiums like he did. Yes, I know I can't dance like Mike. I can't sing like Mike, but I can make songs that make you want to sing them like Michael did. Now, that was kind of audacious. Now, why can't we do the same thing in technology? Yeah, I want to make products that have as many users as, WhatsApp one day. Am I not supposed to dream that big? Or am I worried about people's perception of like, here he goes again? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
What your own limitations are within yourself. I don't have those limitations.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to jump in there. I completely agree. And everything you said, again, is all about collaboration. And collaboration can be across nationalities, countries, industries. It can be anywhere. Just collaborate, work hard, be together. Even at BYP Network, it's super diverse. Our co-founder's Asian. We have a team that is full of Black, Asian, white, everything. And that's how we want other companies and other teams to be, super diverse. And as we just focus on this decade of proactive change, I want to say thank you so much to will.i.am, as this has been incredible, so insightful. I think the main thing I've taken from it is about being audacious, is about not limiting your dreams just because other people might limit them for you. And I think the number one thing is inspiring that next generation, and not just inspiring them, but actively working with them, actively challenging them on their thoughts and their perceptions and what they see and what they know about technology. In 10 years' time, let's just have this different future that we want. And let's all work together to do so. So I just want to say thank you again. Do you have any final comments? Do you have one piece of advice you want everyone to leave with? Anything that you want people to know before we close off?
Yeah. So my mom, single Black woman, super powerful, super inspirational, a giant force in my life. She's 67 years old. Dubai is not 67 years old. The Dubai that we know. Close your eyes, think about it. 67 years ago, a lot of it was desert. Singapore is not 65 years old. My mom's 67. Single Black woman. Raised 4 kids of her that she birthed and adopted 4 others. She's been on this planet for 67 years, hopefully even more. There's countries that are not that old, that are booming, surplus every single year. Now, keep that in mind when you think of the Black community as a whole. If we were to start today, right? What does 67 years from now look like for us as a whole? My mom's 67 years old. Singapore is younger. Dubai is younger. So that's the type of audacity, that type of audacious dreaming. Us as a collective. What are we trying to build? What problems are we trying to solve? And how do we start with, the youth, encouraging them, inspiring them, mentoring them? Because, like I said, somebody's 10 years old and they're going to be 75 years old, 65 years from now. What does that future look like? And that's how we got to be looking We got to be looking like way. And it starts with our music. It starts with our music and the things we celebrate, the stuff that we put out there in the universe, both on a frequency level, on a symbolically, metaphorically, literally, and how we treat our women in our songs, how we treat our women in our videos. Yeah. It all starts with, it starts with how we treat our women and how we encourage the youth.
Amazing.
And how women, like my mom's freaking awesome. Freaking love my mom. She's dope. Like if I didn't know my mom, I'd be like, yo, with that mom, I wish she was my mom. Like, and I always feel sorry for the person who's actually my mom. I'm like, look, I know you birthed me, but damn, I wish I had that mom. My mom is like that. She's freaking awesome. And yeah, and look at how she could have developed me. I say develop like a product. She could have developed me, and I could have turned out not to be audacious. Like, what the hell did my mom do to give me this level of audacity? Like, damn, that's my mom. She's dope.
Thank you so much, will.i.am. And I agree, my mom's dope too. And hopefully everyone in the audience have a dope mom or know a dope mom or celebrates dope mums. But thank you so much. This has been absolutely incredible. And for those of you watching, don't forget to hashtag BYP collaboration is key. At us at BYP Network on Twitter, on Instagram, share your thoughts, ask any questions. We'll make sure that we get back to you. Please stay for the rest of today's conference. We have a jam-packed day and also tomorrow as well. You can check out the expo booths. We have over 30 sponsors there looking to hire Black talent. So please do check out every single one of those booths, as well as a networking feature. Say hello to other people at the conference today and meet new people. So thank you all, and I will see you again soon, and enjoy the rest of the leadership conference. Thank you.
Thanks.